Hello students, this is Shilpi Kavita from International School of Management, Patna, and I'm going to discuss on Consumer Protection Act 1986. Consumer Protection Act is really a topic to be talked about, and it has been amended many a times, and currently we are having Consumer Protection Act 2019. When we talk about Consumer Protection Act, so this Consumer Protection Act was firstly taken into law in 1986, and it ignited the consumer movement in India. Prior to this act, the consumers were not able to legally sue the government or any private sector. They were at a weaker position, but this act made them very strong. Since then, many organizations have tried to champion the cause for the benefit of the consumers. Prior to this act, it was a producer's world. But after the inception of this act, it was a consumer world. And we all know in today's world, consumer is the king. So king was protected by this act, 1986. King was given a patronage through this act. This Consumer Act applies to the whole of India, except the state of Jammu and Kashmir, and covers all goods and services purchased by the consumers and to all sectors, private, public, and cooperative. So any sector cannot be left out for this Consumer Protection Act. Basically, the objective of this act was to provide a better protection of the interests of the consumers. For that purpose, to make provisions for the establishment of consumer councils were also done, and other authorities for the Settlement Consumer Dispute Act. It protects the consumers from unfair trading or unfair trade practices, which very much practiced by the producers of goods and services. Jago Grahak Jago. This is a very important tagline which we always find in TV ads and other social media ads. So the consumers were made aware of their benefits through this act. They came to realize that if there is any fraudulent activities done by the sellers, the consumers are going to fight out with the basis of this act. The Consumer Protection Act 1986 provides the following rights. First is right to be heard and to be assured that consumers' interest will receive due consideration at appropriate forum. So a forum was developed that wherever the consumers had a problem, they can go. They can challenge that very organization who is duping them. Second, right to seek redressal against unfair trade practices or unscrupulous exploitation of consumers. That means you can have a redressal system. Somebody is going to hear your complaints. Thirdly, right to consumer education, what I talked about Jago Grahak Jago. You are made aware that you have got full right to sue any organization for particular goods and services which you find it not up to the mark, according to the expectations on the price value of that. There were various amendments, and this 1993 Consumer Amendment Act further added some of the acts which are still prevalent even in the Consumer Act 2019. The right to be assured wherever possible access to a variety of goods and services at competitive prices. If they find that in the competitive market, somebody is charging a very high and exorbitant rate, they can go to the Consumer Protection Act and file. The right to be informed about the quality, potency, purity, standard, and price of goods so as to protect the consumers against unfair trade practices. This is very important. If the quality assured or if the purity or standard assured in the ad is not matching with the product, you can also complain for that. The right to be protected against the marketing of goods which are hazardous to life and property. This is important. We can or we have to get protected from hazardous or such products which are not conducive to our body or system. So Consumer Protection Act was basically against unfair trade practices, restrictive trade practices. Unfair trade practices means when you are practicing some unfair means to make profit by duping the consumers or making the consumers at a lesser end. Then restrictive trade practices, if you are restricting other competitors to come in the market and you want to create a monopoly-like situation, that is also unfair. Many times defective products are sold in the market with deficiencies also. Sometimes prices are exorbitant. Sometimes hazardous goods are available in the market. So all these can be fought through this Consumer Protection Act. And for fighting this, there was a forum and jurisdiction developed in this 1986 Act. The Consumer Dispute Redressal Forums at the district level, and that claim less than or equal to rupees 20 lakh. Then at a state level, Consumer Dispute Redressal Commissions that claim more than 20 lakhs and less than rupees 1 crore in appeals. And at the national level, the National Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission that claim equal to rupees 1 crore in appeals. So we can see that in this Consumer Protection Act 1986, the forum and jurisdiction were developed. Whenever you had a crisis as a consumer or any problem as a consumer, you can go to these forums. So with the help of these forums and jurisdiction, your benefit was that disposal was within 90 days. It was told that you have to solve the grievances within 90 days and no adjournment shall ordinarily be granted. A speedy trial was there. So a great relief was done for the consumers. There was removal of defects in good or deficiency in services. There's a replacement of defective goods. There was a refund against defective good or deficient services. Compensation was given and prohibition on sale of hazardous goods. So all these reliefs, which has been mentioned here, made the consumers at a stronger end or at a more greater end. The consumers were strengthened with these reliefs and they were at a proper satisfaction level. The producers even realized that now they cannot fool the consumers. They can only produce in a proper manner so that there is no defection. And if there is a defective goods and services, you will have to pay for the compensation. The producers were made realize that you cannot go according to your whims and fancies. You have to have a bit or a greater knowledge for the consumer satisfaction, and the consumer should not be made fool of. Even when you see the packaging of any product, you will see that the right to be informed is everything incorporated in there. This is example of marigold biscuit. Your standard weight is mentioned, the packaging and expiry date is mentioned, and also the price, the standard followed bar code right to safety, customer care number. If you have any complaint, you can complain there. The nutritional fact about products. So you see everything is there in this whole packaging. So this is a very good thing for the consumers. So the Consumers Protection Act 1986 paved the way for making the consumers strong, making the consumers informed, making the consumers at a better end. Thank you.